It's a dinosaur odd couple with ice skating walruses, anthropomorphic bells, and misunderstood lyrics. We're talking Claymation Christmas Celebration. Hit it. It was 1987. The Dominion of Fiji proclaimed itself a republic. Disney made a deal to create Disneyland Paris. Fleetwood Mac released the Tango in the Night album. And Will Vinton had Rex and Herb host a celebration of Christmas carols. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me are two very special guests. You'll know them as the hosts of the Snow in Southtown podcast, Mike and Rusty. Guys, how's it going?
Hey.
We are wonderful.
Yeah, I'm wonderful. Except I only watched Garfield. I didn't watch the thing you just talked about, so sorry. No.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
I only listened to the Fleetwood Mac album. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's what we were supposed to do.
It is a pretty good
nonstop.
Yeah, we'll riff on that for a bit at the end.
I don't know that album.
It's the one that's got like little eyes and everywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
I know Rumors. I didn't know.
Well, everybody knows Rumors.
Right.
It's what did Wayne say? If you lived in the suburbs, you were issued it.
That's right. I got it right back there. I can show you.
I bet you could. Yeah. Yeah, you got quite the collection back there. That's cool.
The 4 major Fleetwood Mac food groups.
Yeah, so thanks for having us. Sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah. And, like I always say, it's not a podcast unless you go off topic for a while. So no worries.
We're good at that.
Yeah, so am I. I tend to go quite down the rabbit holes for a bit. So let me start off by asking, what's y'all's history, or like, what are your thoughts on the Claymation Christmas Celebration?
I guess I'll go. Okay. So I was talking to Rusty just a little bit, and I was saying, traditionally on our podcast, it comes from a place of love, but we tend to, we can be a little harsh on some things. And, but since it's Christmas, there's nothing that we'd rather be harsh about, I guess is how I'll present it. So, I'll let Rusty speak for himself, but I personally, this is not something that was every year in our house. And in fact, I think I told you, Jerry, that I went to go watch the original VHS tape with all our Christmas specials on it. Garfield is on the tape from the night that these both aired for the first time. Mm-hmm. My mom did not record this. So she was like, I don't know what this is. Raisins, I don't know. We're not recording this.
And this is the one that won the Emmy.
Exactly. It beat Garfield for the Emmy, right? So, I knew about it, and I definitely knew of the Raisins, but it wasn't until years later that I really started watching it and getting into it, and I'll talk about that as we go. But it's not something I knew well in '87 for sure.
Gotcha.
Unless I'm just making this up for my own personal mythology, my memory is that the night that it aired, did Garfield come on first?
It did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we watched Garfield maybe, and then we got about 10 minutes into this one, and my family made a collective decision that we were done. And even the kids, because I would have been, let's see, 8. So that's 87. I would have been about 7.
No.
Oh, no. You're right. No.
Jerry, we're English teachers, by the way.
Hang on.
So,
Hang on. I wasn't born in 1980. I was 12. I was 12.
He was 12.
Okay. That makes more sense. If I was 7, I would have probably, I was thinking it seems like at 7, I would have kept going no matter what. But I guess 12, I was like, nah, I don't need this.
But to follow that tends to be sort of like how it goes. Even when I put it on these days, like we'll watch like the first couple, but then by then it's like we're wrapping presents or doing, like it's on, but we don't. It's hard to go much past 10 minutes. Now I did this time, of course.
Yeah. This may have been my first time. This may have been my first time to see the whole thing. And I have not seen any of it since then. So,
Oh wow, yeah.
and but it's weird how much I remember of it. From what I've seen, I remember those dinosaurs really well.
It's funny because there's some things that are like, I don't want to say iconic because they're really not iconic, but it's things that really stick out.
Yeah.
So like the dinosaurs, the bells are something that most people remember.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
And the walruses, and of course the raisins. It's like those are like the things that most people that I know talk about the special, actually remember. And so for me, I actually was born in 1980, so I was 7 when this came out. So I did sit through it all. And again, it wasn't my favorite, but I really did enjoy it at the time. And then, they showed it a couple years after that, and it just kind of faded into obscurity because of rights issues with the raisins.
Yeah.
And then I forgot all about it until maybe a few years ago, when all of a sudden someone said something and something clicked in my head, like, oh yeah, the raisins were in this one special about Christmas. And I started looking it up. And so then I bought it, and now my kids and I watch it every Christmas.
Now, I'll say that I read through that whole website that you sent me, where the guy who did the music. Have you read the whole thing, Jerry?
I have, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, Rusty, did you get to read it?
I read it, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think knowing now, like his story, that was kind of cool. So I think when we put it on for Christmas this year, I'll watch knowing like his backstory now. And the other question I have is, I should have asked one of my good friends, but Rusty, you're a Simpsons guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't they like parody this?
Yeah, they did the California prunes.
The prunes, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think a lot of this is just in pop culture. So it's something that I feel like I know a lot about, but when I sat down to watch it, I was like, man, I never really have paid attention to this one. Like I'm usually like doing something else while this is on. So I knew about the waffle, all of that stuff. I knew a couple of the shorts, but some of them, like Rusty said, like I kind of don't know if I watched the whole thing before.
Yeah, and admittedly, I had forgotten all about the waffle, whatever debacle.
Yeah, I didn't remember that joke, that running joke. Yeah,
yeah, it's like this running gag, and of course we'll get to it, but I completely had forgotten that, and the only thing that I remembered really was the raisins, and like I said, the bells. The bells was like my favorite out of all of them when I was little.
Right.
And of course it's the one that like is my kid's favorite now too.
Yeah. And so that's what like I'll get into it as we go, I'll get into it. But so my wife's family, we went to high school together and then college, and then I roomed with her brother in college who was 2 years younger than us. And so in their family, it was something that they had watched time and again, and they knew certain lines. So that's when in college, this would have been like 97. So like 10 years later, is when it really started to click as far as like quoting certain lines, which I'll get to. But so it was after by 97, I was quoting lines from it, but so I knew of it, but I really hadn't sat down to watch the whole thing, I guess.
What was this is for both of you, your relationship with the raisins before this aired? Like from the commercials, did you like watch them and go, this is stupid? Or
hey, I was not a raisin fan. Yeah, Jerry, I wasn't. Were you, Jerry?
So, I don't know if I was a raisin fan, but
you were young enough.
I think I liked them. I mean, they were hip enough back then to a 7-year-old that.
Right. Here's the test. Did you have any of the merch? Did you have a lunchbox?
No. What I did have was there were some figures that McDonald's had in the Happy Meals.
Yeah,
so I had a few of those.
I don't even know if I had that.
But that's it. I mean, I didn't have anything else.
Rusty, did you?
No, I mean, 12 was kind of like the early years of my becoming jaded to everything. So it was just like commercial. It was, and even this special was like, it's just, they're just selling more raisins or what? Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when this thing was first pitched, it wasn't actually going to be about the raisins. They were kind of like a later edition.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Of course, you got your big moneymaker, the thing that you're known for. Throw it in your Christmas special.
Throw it in. Save it for last. Yeah, so people will stick around. Like, I gotta wait for the raisins.
But then when you put it on the album, put them first.
Right. Well, here's how stupid I am. I'm sitting there watching this thing, and they go to start singing, and I realize I'm so stupid. I'm expecting them to sing "Heard It Through the Grapevine." I'm like, oh wait, they're singing Rudolph. Like I thought they were just gonna phone it in, man. Just be like, here's "Heard It Through the Grapevine."
They should have. Yeah, people would have been happy. They'd be like, this is what I know.
Yeah, with sleigh bells and Santa hats on,
Yeah,
for the last 30 years, that would have been a Christmas song now. Yeah.
Right, like my favorite things would just be on the radio. Right?
It's just all of a sudden a Christmas song. Yeah.
Yeah. We should do that.
Yeah. Real, yeah. Let's make it a thing now. Yeah.
With the raisins.
Yeah. Just these sleigh bells.
Oh man. So I also am a Simpsons fan. So I remember when that episode aired and the California prunes were there. That was one. And I don't remember what it is, but they say something like it's the fruit or it's a thing that your grandma likes to eat or something like that.
Yeah. I remember the joke.
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrible joke, but it's awesome. It's the Simpsons.
Yeah.
But so this was done by, of course, Will Vinton. He was really known for his camera work besides everything else. Although he was also a writer and, an artist and things like that as well. But he got together with a friend of his from college. They formed their own studio. They started doing these little mini things. Their actual first, not feature length, but their first little stop motion claymation animation thing was about a drunk.
Yep.
And so from there, they kept doing more and more. Eventually, they won an Oscar for one of their shorts. And it was from there that they ended up getting the gigs for the Raisins and a few other things. And it was actually a pretty productive studio there for a while until the novelty of claymation kind of wore out. And although I did find out later on that he did have a hand in also creating those M&Ms, those CG M&M commercials.
Oh.
Yeah, he did.
Super
He
cool.
switched to computers, and he started like the iconic ones, like not the because they used to do like 2D animation, and then when they switched to like computers, that's when he took over, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course that's a classic that everybody knows those. So
that's when they got John Lovett's.
It stinks.
Thanks. My favorite Will Vinton is his Mark Twain movie.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one actually.
Yeah, it's almost like a compilation. Like this, but it's Mark Twain inspired stuff. So it's Mark Twain hanging out with his characters like Huck Finn and stuff, and then they're going around. Yeah, and they do like a lot of like Mark Twain short, more obscure things. It's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. No dinosaurs. Well, there might be.
No, and I know he did have one with dinosaurs in it that I think even Fred Savage was a part of.
Yeah.
And it was like before he was like, Fred Savage. And he reused some of those dinosaurs for Herb and Rex, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But again, I've never seen that one. That was kind of outside of my my sphere of influence at the time. I was really into He-Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that. So and I love dinosaurs, but Fred Savage didn't quite do it for me.
I like Fred Savage.
I did too. Of course he went on to the Wonder Years. The Wizard, yeah, of course, which is amazing.
With Jenny Lewis.
If you guys have not seen The Grinder, you need to watch that. Have you seen that?
I have not.
It's him and Rob Lowe, they're brothers, and he's a lawyer and his dad's a lawyer. Rob Lowe played a lawyer in a TV show, and then gets fired from the show and moves home and wants to be a lawyer. And it's a really fun. It only lasted one season, so it's like 15 episodes maybe.
Yeah,
it's great. It's really good. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Do you remember Will Vinton's other commercial creation, The Noid?
Yes.
Oh, is that his?
That's him.
Makes
Noid,
sense. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I did have Noid merch. I had a keychain. I had a
I did too. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I don't think I had anything Noid unless I got a freebie or something. But
it's probably where it all came from. Yeah, it was probably all free.
People just hand you Noid.
I know. Like I can say for a fact, I did not go out and like beg my dad to get me a Noid keychain.
Yeah, at my house every Friday night was Domino's, so I'm sure we had all kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, we had we had pizza quite often, and Domino's was always one of the in rotation with like Pizza Hut.
Right, and like at March Madness, Pizza Hut had like the basketball, so we get Pizza Hut. Yeah, so we're always getting free stuff. As far as surprised, I didn't have the raisins from McDonald's, or maybe I did. I just don't remember.
Well, I know my mom sold them at a garage sale, so I'm gone. I doubt they're worth anything anyway, but
still, right now you could show them to us. And
I would have been able to say, "Look, check it out," but no. Oh well. So this special, of course, as you know, Patrick Miller, the composer, and the reason I sent you that site was so you'd learn a little bit about it, but mostly because I know you guys are musicians. You know, on your podcast, you talk about music all the time. You're doing that top 10 countdown, and
that's right.
So I wanted to make sure you kind of got like from the composer's point of view as well, which is, I mean, it's an interesting long story, but
it really is. And I didn't even read his. I wanted to wait till after we recorded. I didn't read his like bitter story from 2005.
Oh yeah.
I'll go read that later. He's like, if you want to read from a cranky old man or whatever, he's like, you can read this. I figured out wait. He did get kind of ripped off, and look, I know what that's like. I did when I quit teaching for a semester. I was doing I was writing for Yahoo Sports, but I also had to do some freelance stuff on the side as well. And I was doing some ghostwriting, and I did some songwriting ghostwriting.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty frustrating because, you know, the pay is not good. And then you don't even get the credit. So like he's talking about like he didn't get the Emmy, you know, or like he didn't get to go up and accept the Emmy. Like I totally, I could see that. That would be my life. Is like I spend 6 months recording this music 24 hours a day. And I feel like I did nothing and just.
And then you have to be the guy going around for the rest of your life going, you know, I did the California Raisins.
Sit down. It's on. Telling the kid, shut up. I did this.
Turn it up. It up.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I know exactly how it feels. That's a position I would find myself in, I'm sure. So
yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I mean, yes, it's definitely dated. It's definitely of its time, but I kind of really dig it. I don't know what it is. There's something about it that's just.
I'm not too into the music, but.
Well, it's okay.
But I get it. It's good. Like it's really good. Like I was never into it. Like unless I was watching Beverly Hills Cop or something. I don't know. You know, it wasn't the kind of music.
Harold Faltermeyer.
Yeah, like a lot of synth bass and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like totally, you know, of that time where, you know, what's his name? Brad Fiedel was doing Terminator, and John Carpenter was doing all his, electronic scores. And so it's like right up there with that kind of stuff. So
in 87, or let's say, you know, 87, I started listening to the Smiths and Depeche Mode. I mean, you know, by 88, 89, I was listening to that stuff plus NWA and all of that. So, I mean, like, you know, I was never listening to Depeche Mode was electronic.
They're kind of electronic, yeah.
Not like this, though, you know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely, you can tell it's all done synth. You know, there's real horns and stuff like that, and it's got that real MIDI sounding tinny brass.
Early MIDI.
Yeah.
You push the button on your keyboard and you get these songs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, but again, reading a story
Casio in the back, you know,
it's good. Like to read a story is like I laid down all these tracks. You know, I did these background vocals, and like the dude knew what he was doing. You know, so I kind of wish for a better fate for him as a result, because he makes some of the other guys sound like a jerk. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess we're only getting his side of the story, but it's still interesting either way.
Yeah, that was good.
So this special, it starts off like right away. You know, you see Will Vinton, a Claymation Christmas Celebration, big old marquee, and then it kind of just zooms directly into Rex and Herb, the dinosaurs, which were based on Siskel and Ebert.
Right.
How? I read that and I was like, no, they weren't.
Right? I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
Yeah, they weren't. I didn't know where that came from because I read the same thing. I said, no.
It was just like the idea of having these two, but I don't know. It was almost also could have been like the two dudes from the Muppets, I guess. I mean, not like insulting, but just sort of that.
I mean, it's the classic
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, I mean, it's the comedy thing that it's like one guy is the smart straight man, the
straight
other guy
man
is the doof.
But
I don't think Siskel and Ebert are that. They were both.
They were both
the straight man.
They're both.
They were.
I mean,
I'm the same way. I read that and I was a little confused. And then I kind of thought, well, I guess because the Styracosaurus is like bigger with glasses. I don't know.
That could be Laurel and Hardy or anybody that's like size discrepancy.
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
And it could have been an early draft or something where, who knows? Because he talks about a lot of different drafts. So.
Yeah, because one of them's British. He does like almost like a.
That's right.
Or if not
that Jim Backus.
I was gonna say like a Jim Backus lover. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he does the Jim Backus thing. Yeah. So it's if not British, then whatever that version of.
I have no idea where he's supposed to be from, but
snooty.
There you go. Yeah. I was going to say
snooty
highfalutin, but that sounds
right.
better.
Yeah. It's the snoot and the doof is what I call them.
Snoot and the doof. I like that. Yeah. But, and even right away, so like, Rex, the snoot, he's got the bow tie and the suit and everything. He's all dressed to the nines. And then the doof, he's got his Santa suit on. So it's like already you can see there's going to be some sort of disparity there.
Right.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, it's so weird because there's no, it just like
comedy.
Gets straight into it. Well, yeah, it just gets like straight into it. He's like there's no build up, no nothing. It's just like, bam. Okay. We're going to be doing this Christmas Carol thing. And then they start.
Yeah. So they have a lot of sequences to squeeze in and they're going
to quick trim it for time, trim it.
Right.
So
yeah, but he said they had to trim it to get the raisins in.
Which is crazy.
Well, you know what they should have done? They should have, and this is going to, my least favorite thing about this show is the stupid dinosaurs, because you don't need anything introducing these shorts. The shorts by themselves are usually fine. Mm-hmm. But and then we have to come back to this misery of these dinosaurs.
We got to get back to that running gag.
Yes. Right.
Well, it started as a kid's video, right?
Yes.
And so that makes sense. Like for kids, okay, I was a librarian in a school for 2 years. And so I had to sit kindergartners down to watch stuff like this. And they would have
my mom was a school librarian, by the way.
Yeah, they would have been rolling laughing at some of this stuff. So I guess in the context of that, but then once you move it to primetime television for a whole family, it doesn't really carry.
Yeah, because it wasn't even going to be aired nationally at first. It was just like a direct-to-video kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it was going to be about dogs and pigs messing up the words to the lyrics. Here we come a wassailing, which I have to say, this was as a kid my first introduction to the word wassail. So
yeah.
So I had no idea what that was.
Wow.
You were on the same page as the dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rex and I, man, we're physical bits always killing on a podcast. But
he's doing the eye to eye motion with fingers. Yeah.
But so yeah, and I think that's why they kept going back to it, because that was the original premise. But you're right. A lot of these things could have stood on their own. If they wanted, they could have introduced it just them and then kind of left it from there. Hey,
here's a bunch of shorts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
or just start with it. Start with those singing camels.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Herb gives us the rundown. It's about Christmas and snacks and joy and all sorts of whatever, and then bam, first short. Which is the We Three Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do y'all feel about the song itself? Not actually this particular, just the song "We Three Kings." Is that
before the show,
the song,
like the carol? Yeah,
the actual song. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Yeah, me too.
I don't know. I did. I looked it up a little bit, so I don't know if you guys looked this up. So it was written by Henry Hopkins. The song. Did y'all see this? So it was written by Henry Hopkins in 1857 as a gift for his nieces and nephews. And I'm like, all right, I haven't even pulled that. Yeah, it's Christmas Eve. I haven't gotten them anything.
You couldn't just get them an Xbox, man.
Here, I wrote you a song. I can see my nieces and nephews. I wrote you a song. This is your gift. I don't think it works. Yeah.
But I wanted a toy.
If they had known it was going to be on the California Raisins special, they might have appreciated it.
They might have appreciated it, yeah.
130 years from now, this is going to be on.
There's going to be a very desperate raisin company that really...
Right.
They wanted to improve their image.
That's right.
So I think they left out the myrrh verse, right?
They did, yeah. So it's kind of weird because it's like there's three kings or three magi or whatever, but only like two of them get their own verse.
And so maybe that was one thing that was cut, but I would have cut the last verse, like "Glorious now behold him." I would have just cut that. They should have each got their part. I don't know.
Yeah. What'd you think about this song in particular? Like this version with the back and forth between the more traditional and then the like doo-woppy kind of vibe.
Same joke over and over.
Right, but for the sound, for what they were going for with the sound, I thought it was good because
the doo-wop sound was
Yeah, it mixes the two styles, and I don't have to listen to the Michael Jackson, riff over and over. So, I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny, and I actually rated. Do you do ratings? I don't know if you do. I rated each segment. So.
Sure, why not?
But I could do it on the spot.
Of course,
I could do it on the spot.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm down with rating each segment.
All right, so I gave this one. I gave this one a 7. So a 7 out of 10. So I thought it was good.
So 5.
5. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll split the difference and say 6.
All right.
I'm going to cop out and go the easy way.
But it was fine. It was a good start. If it was all like this, I'd be fine. There's a couple I like better, but then there's some they don't need. To me, the whole thing would be better, and I don't know how you do it because, of course, there's so many different companies. But if you could air Charlie Brown and then show one of these, kind of like they do with like the Pixar shorts. And,
like right before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could just take the 3 best ones and just throw them on before Garfield, before Charlie. Like that would be cool, Yeah. So, but to watch all 6 of these with those dinosaurs in the middle and the waddling ducks and all this stuff.
Yeah,
so it's funny because we were watching a little while ago just so I could remember everything.
Yeah,
and so my 7-year she's not 7 anymore. My 8-year-old and my 3-year-old were just kind of sitting there watching it. And my 1-year-old, she's looking, and she's just kind of like, babies, because she just calls anything on TV babies.
Babies.
Like, babies. And then she just walked away and started playing. And I thought, okay, she gets it.
Oh, man.
This one gets it.
Yeah. No, I will say this: when I was reading the guy's story, I was like, I don't know, like I get it, and the guy's a talented guy, but like I'm just not into the music, and I'm reading through side A. It's like by about halfway through side B, then in my mind I'm like, man, I kind of want this on vinyl. Like I really, that's just how I am. Like now I need to collect it.
Now you need it.
Story.
Now you need it just to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably never put it on, but. So.
I think I'd like it better just listening to the music by itself as a record than I would watching the show.
Yeah, so I'm the nerdy guy. I downloaded all the tracks and put it, found a picture of the actual CD cover on Amazon and
I'll look for it. I'll find it one day. I'll grab it on vinyl. It'll probably be $3 at some record store.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you can find it for maybe even cheaper than that.
Yeah, I'll find it.
And it's so it's like part of it's in my rotation. But I do find myself every time one of them comes on, especially the ones that I don't know, I'm like, next.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
For
Some
sure.
are rough.
Yeah. I thought the animation was pretty good on this one. My favorite part of the whole thing of this little segment here was when at the very first time the camels start to doo-wop and the Magi just kind of give them like the shifty eye, like, what are they doing? Yeah. That's like my favorite part of that one. But other than that, I mean, standard. And, I think the only reason they went with doo-wop was to tie it in with the Raisins later on.
Maybe.
So, I mean, other than that, I have no idea.
It's almost like it felt like, this is the 1980s. And so, doo-wop would not be that abrasive because we're so used to it. Like if this were done in the 50s and like it was like, here's our traditional song and then here's some doo-wop and they're like, Bork! That would have been, then it would have made more sense. But as it was, it's like, well, doo-wop's, by this point, almost classical music. So just don't feel like it's much of a contrast.
Yeah. This one, like I said, it wasn't my favorite, but that's okay because the next one was.
You guys like the Carol of the Bells a lot more.
The Carol of the Bells, yeah. Which I know it's like so repetitive and there's not really a lot to it. It's basically just a minor, throw in a couple of, sharp 6s and 7s, and you're good to go. All of a sudden we have a leading tone. But for some reason, I always liked the song. I was always drawn to the song. It's just been one of my favorites.
Oh, I like the song a lot.
And so I remember when I was little watching this segment, it was like the coolest thing because it was hilarious because they were hitting themselves.
Right.
So it kind of had like that Muppaphones. You remember the Muppaphones?
Where they hit the little fuzzy things and ow, yeah.
So it kind of had a Muppaphone vibe to me.
Yeah.
And I loved the Muppets, so it was like, it fit right in. And then it was one of my favorite songs. And so, okay, I got it. And of course, the bit is you had like the, again, another doof kind of character.
Yeah. Yeah, complete with his single tooth and all that.
Single tooth, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So this is the one that right now my brother-in-law would always quote.
Yeah.
So it was, I lost mine, So
Oh yeah.
So at some point it just became a thing, and I mean all year long, anytime it's fair game, it's just like I lost mine, like whatever it is, like, and my wife gets it, my kids now get it, and it's so stupid, but that's that came from this show, and so I think it's funny, the where he smashes the fly with it, and he's done. He doesn't want to use that one. And then Quasimodo as the conductor, that's pretty funny. And then of course the slingshot to end
right,
it,
because we didn't mention it's actually set in Notre Dame Cathedral.
Right.
So Quasimodo, yeah.
And doesn't he say something like, he goes, I have a hunch this is going to be good or something?
Yeah,
like that?
it's bad joke.
Oh, I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that like I'm from New Orleans, and we had a lot of jazz, but I'd never seen a bell choir until I moved here to Nashville. And then we can, we see them here now, but I had never seen a bell choir. So that was, like on TV, I'd see it, but so it was cool. Like you said, they're hitting themselves and stuff. I thought.
And then later you get the Hershey's Kisses doing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part of this segment was actually the beginning when they're just doing that NPR talk, like, okay, we go now to the bell. That was the part that actually made me kind of go, yeah.
That was really good, man.
Yeah, he's good. I thought it was more like golf, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
No, but I do love
it's a fine line.
And it's so the composer, I think he ended up, for the recording when they did the album, he ended up actually overdubbing that part himself. Yeah. So it's like different from.
But then he had to add like commentary because it doesn't translate to audio. You're supposed to hit the bell or something. It's like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it really.
But they cut "Oh Christmas Tree," his daughters.
Oh, I know. And that was like I think out of all of them, that was probably like the sweetest segment. Like most Christmassy of the segments, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bummer. But.
Yeah, but so I was next, but yeah. So so I'm a 9 out of 10 on this one. So
Carol of the Bells. I love it. I'm 5 again.
I'm gonna go a little bit closer and say like 8.5. Yeah,
and it might have been gone up to 7 if it weren't for that main character, and I don't know, guys.
I liked him, man. He played air guitar on the mallet.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Liked him. Yeah, he's just so like they're waiting for that tonic, that low C or whatever. I think it's in C.
Right. Well, then again, it's also like putting like your worst player at shortstop. It's like they kind of need that guy. Why is Dumbbell on the last minute? Yeah.
It's like it's the triangle player joke where it's it's the easiest thing, but also it's that crucial moment.
That's true. Yeah. Right. You're right. Yeah. It's probably the easiest one. Yeah. Like stash him in right field or something.
I just love when he tries to like use his own hand and like nothing happens. It's just like a boing boing boing. It's pretty good sound effect.
Yeah. So
it's good.
But yeah, I mean, so for 23 years now, I lost mine. So yeah. So to me, it's classic just because of that.
And his voice when he says it too, it's like,
I lost mine.
I can't do it.
But also, wait, all right, you used to be a band director, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I did,
And so my wife was a band director, and so we've been in bands. But like you're in a concert and you're playing, and sometimes you have to talk to the person next to you. It's like that's the kind of stuff that would go on. I lost mine.
Yeah. Where are we?
Right.
The counting rest measures for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Man, yeah. Those are always brutal.
2, 3. And I'm a drummer, so I've counted my fair share of rest.
Yeah. You've had quite a bit of
Christmas
rest.
concerts. And you're not the sleigh bell player in the Christmas concert. Sometimes
that's right.
You get the
or the woodblock player.
There you go. So yeah, that one was always one of my favorite segments there. But of course, as we're going through these different segments, now we get to the ducks or the geese, whatever they are, coming down, and we get our first taste of the wassail, waddle, whatever. And of course, Rex is like, no, in his best voice, pardon me, you're making a lyrical error. And and we get the whole bit about, okay, well, it's wassail, but what does wassail mean? And And this is like the first start of it. So
didn't they also do the waffle before or no?
Oh, you're right. They did the waffle before.
I think the waffle.
Yeah, you're right.
We
Here we come about waffling.
Yeah,
and then waddling.
And then this is waddling.
Then the waddling.
And, I've been
you're right, because Herb is like eating waffles as he's talking about introducing the next segment.
And so I was fine with, but I've got ducks in my backyard I've been hanging out with. So I'm good with duck humor.
So it really hit home for you, huh?
Yeah, right, exactly. We all week we've been like feeding them, and they're so like scared. And so like finally now, yesterday and today, they come up to us and like get grapes and stuff. So I'm cool with ducks.
Got any grapes?
Got any grapes, exactly. But yeah, we love it.
When I lived in Houston, in the apartment I was staying at, there was a big pond. Like it was just part of the attraction of, ooh, look at, we're fancy, we have a pond. But there were ducks there. And I remember one time just reading a book, and I think it was Hindemith's book on harmony, like or counterpoint, part like 2 or something.
Yeah.
Because I think part 1 still hadn't been translated. And so I remember just sitting out there reading a book, and the duck just like started chasing me, and I was like, what the heck? And
they're kind of crazy.
So yeah, I hear you about those ducks. But so the next one is "Oh Christmas Tree" that you kind of talked about already before, where his daughters actually sang it. It's really sweet. It's a little girl and her younger brother just decorating the Christmas tree, and then they kind of zoom into the ornament, and as they zoom in, we see like what's happening, and it's like a gingerbread family, and then they zoom in, and it's like the elves, on an ornament on their tree, and then it's like the elves in their workshop, and then again we zoom in, and then it's like Santa and Mrs. Claus just kind of hanging out by the fire, and Santa's having a little snooze, and Mrs. Claus is knitting or something, and then it kind of goes to the star, and then it takes us back. So it's like full circle. But to me, this one is the most Christmassy. Of course, Santa's in it, the Christmas tree's in it, the lights, something about the fire, just everything seemed like picturesque to me. Yeah. Although they do have that weird, they do have that weird elf bit where the elf is testing the jack in the boxes, and one of them doesn't go off, and then finally his own head like is a jack in the box.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I like it. It's cool. Yeah, it's weird. I like it.
It's cool, but it is weird. Oh, I'm sorry, Rusty. What were you going to say?
Oh, this is my favorite one.
Nice.
The whole bunch.
Yeah.
I personally had never really noticed it. I mean, it's weird. Like it must just be something like probably going to commercial and then coming back and you get these ducks or whatever's going on. But sitting here like on a Thursday morning or whatever with headphones in and July in the middle of a pandemic, I was like really into it. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch a whole 30 minutes of that, like keep going through these.
Yeah.
Like, the song was pretty and the animation is beautiful. And I loved it.
I did too. Growing up though, this was like the one I hated most.
I could see that.
I thought it was the most boring.
Yeah.
The other ones, of course I was 7. So the other ones, I mean, they were funny. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Not silly, except a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. It's more
of a mood.
Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're all dudes now. So that's
9 out of 10 on this one for me. So
I agree.
I go 8. But yeah, it's a solid B.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty downhill from here, so just so you know.
Okay.
That's okay. It's cool, man. Yeah. So again, we go back to Herb and Rex, and what does wassail mean? Sheep shearing song, and all that kind of jokes, and then we go into the next segment, which is the angels we have heard on high, with the dancing walruses.
Yes.
Or ice skating walruses.
This is kind of the same joke as that segment from Fantasia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact joke. And I mean, this whole thing's kind of like Fantasia anyway, because it's just a bunch of songs that's set to animation.
It's like the lower budget.
Right.
Fantasia.
You're much lower. But yeah, it's kind of like they wanted to do a Waltz the Hours thing for Claymation.
Yeah. This was another. I think this one was like my second favorite growing up. Because it was funny. They're big walruses and they're skating and the penguins are in the way.
Right.
But so this one's interesting because of what they do with the melody. Like they keep, augmenting it and then, shortening it as, it's like a halftime kind of thing. And it's just, I don't know. It's something that, you don't normally hear on Angels We Have Heard on High,
I'm trying to even remember what it sounded like. Yeah,
so it's got the bassoon. It starts off with the bassoon, that bum, bum, but and then it's like speeds out like in a halftime thing. Da, 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 da. But that first part, it's nice and long.
Okay.
Do, 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 and it's just like, and then they switch it in the next verse, which I thought was kind of cool. So so the first half is more sped up, and then they augment it lengthwise. So I thought that was an interesting take on this carol, because I mean, what can you really do to Angels We Have Heard on High? I've heard a funk version that didn't work. I've heard rock versions that don't work. So I think kind of keeping it quasi classical.
Well, that's why it's weird, because it seems targeted for kids, but other than Rudolph, it's like these traditional carols and something that's not going to appeal to kids. So they tried to funk it up or something, and it just doesn't always work for me, I guess. I don't know.
No, and I know what you mean, and I think that's because all these are in public domain.
They're free, right? Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we're cutting Away in a Manger for this vinyl comp of songs that are all in the public domain.
Nice.
And and I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, what am I going to do with Away in a Manger? But that's what they asked us to do. So I need to come up with a version of it next week for recording.
I did a contemporary, I don't know, Coldplay-esque. And I don't like Coldplay, but I did that kind of a version of Away in a Manger.
Really?
It sort of worked, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna do my Weezer, so that's basically
nice.
That's my fallback for everything. So.
For everything, just play like Weezer.
WWWD. Right, exactly.
Awesome. But did you look like Buddy Holly doing it?
I can't. Let's see.
Sorry.
Exactly.
I learned comedy from Rex and Herb. So
one of them. And songs about snacks.
Oh man. But yeah, so the dancing or the ice dancing walruses. I mean, there's not really much to say.
There are ice dancing walruses.
Yeah,
that's true.
They have I think they're as graceful as they can be for walruses, and then that's about it.
Well, I guess that's the joke, right? It's like
just like the hippopotami.
Just like the hippo, yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, you guys rate it, because I don't want. I got my score here. But...
Mine's more of a 6.
Yeah. This one, this one's a 6. Mm-hmm.
What? All right, I'm at a 3. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the music on this one. It was I liked how it was just different. And not so.
It wasn't offensive to me.
Synth poppy.
Right. All right. Good. Well, it feels good to be the low man, because I think I've been high on the first 3. So.
Yeah.
There you go. Gotta aspire to something.
Yeah. Right. I'm definitely the first 3. I'm way up, and the next 3 I'm way down. So.
Well, the next one was like my least favorite, or my second least favorite.
The U2 record, Rusty, the one we talk about is Joshua Tree.
Joshua Tree, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like loaded on side A, and then side B is like the stuff that no one remembers. So.
Yeah.
Or like Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever. Or Third Eye Blind. That Third Eye Blind record is like 5 singles on side A. I don't know anything on side B.
Get to that fourth eye.
So someone needed to arrange the tracks better, is what you're saying.
Well, that's
or maybe they arranged it perfectly. Yeah,
maybe they did. Yeah, you're like, all right, next.
My analogy doesn't. My analogy doesn't work as well, because, of course, the big showstopper is at the end here. So it would be like the Third Eye Blind record, but with Semi Charm Life, the last track.
The last song, yeah,
right, so, or something like that. I don't
know. The thing about records is, those first few tracks will get you to buy it.
Right,
maybe.
It's true.
But with a TV show, you have to stay to the end to get commercial money.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that. Like if the single, like if you're Joshua Tree or whatever, right? So if the singles, if I'm going to buy it because I heard, I don't know where the streets have no name on the radio.
Yeah.
Why does it matter if it's on side A? Or I don't understand.
I didn't know people sampled them in stores sometimes. Maybe I don't know.
It would always happen.
It always happened.
I remember doing that in like the. Like with cassettes and with CDs. I don't remember doing that much with albums though.
like sampling in a
They
story?
did.
Yeah.
I know people did, and I still do.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know they existed because but I mean, there's about like Dishwalla. I don't know if you guys like Dishwalla had
Dishwalla.
Counting Blue Cars and like 3 other singles on side A.
All right, that's taking me back a bit. Yeah.
All right. Never
If you say Dishwalla in a mirror 3 times, I don't think that's what happens.
It'll conjure.
All right, never mind. Nirvana.
All the singles are side A. There you go.
All the singles are side A on Nirvana.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you know one song on side B? And this is Nevermind. This is like a huge record.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have
Sorry. I can't think of it.
We just hijacked your show. So.
That's okay. It's entertaining. I'm enjoying myself.
It's talking about you two and Dishwalla.
When Mike
so
Dishwalla.
Would you say Patrick Miller is more U2 or more Dishwalla? No. It's great.
Sorry.
So going back to the special. The next section is this is another one that was definitely not my favorite. I think this was like my second least favorite.
It's not even claymation. It's not even.
It is, but it's not.
It?
It is, yeah. So it's actually they did paint on like warm clay.
Okay.
And they would frame. It was almost like real time painting on warm clay.
Right. There's no raisins. Okay, so
there's definitely no raisins. Yeah.
I'm here for the raisins, and I haven't seen them yet. Okay.
I'm not buying it, man. Not buying it.
I sent you the commercial, the 11-second commercial during Garfield. Promised raisins.
Coming up.
Nothing says Christmas like some raisins, Good old Christmas raisins. Put them in a plum pudding, I guess. So this is it's a church. It's Joy to the World. It's like this Afro-Cuban kind of thing.
Am I going to be the only one to defend this one?
Well, as an adult, I enjoy it a lot more than I did as a child. As a child, I hated it. I remember just being like, oh,
right. I would have probably
next?
hated it as a kid too.
But as an adult, I've really grown to appreciate it. And then once I found out that they were actually painting in almost real time as they were sculpting these little clay things,
right?
I mean, just the art of it was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Animation wise, it was my favorite.
Yeah.
And overall, my second favorite of the batch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just want to say, so on our show, the first season when we started last year, we did the top 10 Christmas movies and top 10 songs as selected by our friends. So we sent out a survey like in August. We're planning the podcast, and so they did that. Like we gave them like 2 months. So in October we started our podcast. So we had like 30 friends that filled it out. But then, so on the last episode, of course, we gave our top 10s for both. Now, so "Joy to the World" is the only song in this special that made it to either of our top 10. So it was Rusty's number 10 song. So this is all to say that Rusty went into this with a bias because he.
It's easy to play on the piano.
That's quite a long way to get there, but you got
too much. It's too much. Like they always in the '80s, they always had to tell you what they were talking about. We're talking about joy. Dude, I know you're talking about joy. I know. I heard the whole song.
Well, and you're right. It is a lot in the '80s, but I think it's also just a gospel thing.
Right. Yeah, I guess so.
Which is funny because it's not really gospel-y.
No,
it's definitely more, like the Afro-Cuban. I mean, because there's almost like a Montuno kind of vibe going on with the mallets, but it just I don't know. It's got like a gospel like ethos. Yeah, if that makes any kind of sense.
Well, yeah, including the repetition and like just kind of getting into it and yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't. So, I wasn't into it. And now that you told me about the animation, I guess I have more respect for it. But like, if I'm just going by watching it, I shouldn't have had to know that to appreciate it. I can't just be fickle and change my score.
I know, but you didn't look at it and go, "Hey, this looks nice."
No, I looked at it. I was like, "Where's the raisins?" No, I was like, "Where's the?"
Okay.
Everything else looks. Everything else has a certain aesthetic, you know.
It does. It does seem out of place. That's true. It does really seem out of place.
Well, I think that's what I liked about it because it was, you know, and you know, they did it is. I think the order of this one was actually good. I would question the order of some of the others, but like this one is like next to last. Like we're gonna get serious for a minute now, and then we'll give you your raisins, but first you're gonna eat your vegetables first. Yeah.
It felt like filler to me, and so obviously we know now it's not because he talks about having to cut to get the raisins in and cut other stuff.
Well, I think this was like his the first one that he really did, if I recall reading it.
That's right. It's kind of the one that sold them on his style, right? Yeah.
Exactly. They're like, hey, you know, come up with something 80s. I don't know, whatever they told him, and so he came up with this because they wanted him to, you know, just go be creative, and they gave him, you know. And I'm sure you've been there when people give you directions on what they want you to compose, and it's just like,
do this.
What do you do? Okay, you know, or they'll say, you know, I want something like Berg, and you're like, oh, Berg, wow, okay, and then they have no idea what Berg composed, you know, and you're like, okay, so you didn't want Berg, you wanted Stravinsky. Okay, that's completely different. So.
I did this song for this. It was a fire safety series for kids, and they wanted me to do the theme song. So it was about this firefighter named Ace and whatever. And so I do the first draft, right? So they send it back and they go, yeah, we like the song. The guitar sound needs to be a little more chugga chugga. And I go, so I'm like, the whole thing sounds like chugga. It's like a pop punk song, you know. And they go, no, like the Ramones. And I'm like, it sounds exactly like the Ramones. So anyway, so back and forth through email. It's terrible. It turns out they were talking about palm muting. They wanted me to palm mute the first verse. It was like,
okay.
Yeah, so
I got to.
But they didn't know how to convey it, and I didn't know what they were talking about. So so it took like a whole day. I was so frustrated, but then it was really easy. It was a really easy fix. You know, so.
Well, that's what the song feels like. You know, like they're saying, well, we want it to be gospel, but we also really want Afro-Cuban style, but we also really want, I mean,
he probably got 3 or 4 memos and threw it all together at once. Well, this is what you want.
He said he was used to, like, through his advertising agency, people would go, well, make this note a little more blue. And he's like, nobody really knew what that even meant. You know?
Quarter tone band? I don't know. So yeah, I like this. So if you guys are going to rate this one, what would you rate it?
I give it a 2.
Oh, wow.
8.
Yeah. Mike and I usually don't disagree this much.
No, we don't.
We do on this one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I think little kid me would have said 2, but now as an adult, I think I'm definitely going more like 7.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, good. Then I'm glad that it's just me. Maybe it's not the Joshua tree, right?
Barbarian.
Maybe it's more dishwalla than you two after all.
There you go.
Mike is still a kid, is what everybody needs to know. So he hasn't grown up.
I'm trying to think of another more obscure. Like maybe it's more Dog's Eye View than dishwalla. I don't know.
Dog's Eye View. Temple of the Dog. We'll go there.
Temple of the Dog. Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
that's it.
I actually really like Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Just sounds
Sister Hazel. How about Sister Hazel? I don't know.
Sister Hazel. But the truth is, I mean, can you name like 3 songs by Toad the Wet Sprocket? I mean,
no.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't name.
Well, I bet Rusty
one song
probably
by Sister
could.
Hazel.
Probably
Yeah, Rusty. He probably got 5 CDs back there.
No, I don't. No toads.
Right. See, the problem with Rusty is Rusty was never in Columbia House. And so he doesn't have all those.
So he doesn't
CDs.
know anybody for all those CDs.
He did right. He did, well, no, but also like he never got like a Hootie or an Alanis Morissette, probably, you know, because we got him for a penny.
Right. I did pick up my Hootie years later for 50 cents.
Like Sister Hazel was a penny. Who cared if I ever listened to it? Dishwalla was a penny. And it wasn't even my real name. I was on my 4th name by then. You know? Good luck, Columbia House.
But speaking of dishwalla, so the California Raisins finally make their debut.
Finally creep around the box. Yep.
The side A of the special comes out, and of course they're introduced, and Rex is like, "Hey, it's those California Raisins," and you're just supposed to be like super impressed. And I want to say that I probably was, but
What you've all been waiting for.
50% of American moms were going, "Shut up! The raisins are on."
Oh yeah,
You just sat through this absolute animated junk, and now you're going to watch what you want to see, which was
more of the
raisins
same.
come to life to sell a product.
But they got that great joke. Hey, somebody call me a cab. Hey, man, you're a cab.
That was pretty good. I like that. But like, so let me get this straight. So it's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas
the
Eve.
Gig's over. The gig's over, and they missed the last bus.
Yep.
But a reindeer's going to come around, so we're going to hang outside and sing. I played gigs and it's late night. I never just like picked up all the stuff, put it in the van, and sat around singing in the parking lot.
Well, it also depends on where you're gigging too. So some of those places you got to get out of there quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, and I always felt bad for the one raisin where they I don't know what they do to his nose. They shine it or break it or something, but it just starts to glow. And I was what did they do to this poor raisin, man?
Well, I'm thinking, didn't they listen to didn't they learn the moral of the song of Rudolph not to pick on people who look a little different? Because it's they do exactly that. Like, hey, man, you got a big nose, you stupid looking raisin.
Yeah. You must be Rudolph.
Yes.
We don't like you.
Well, we don't like you because you're different.
At least they include him in the raisin games. I don't know.
Right.
And they're not singing Heard It Through the Grapevine. So.
No, they're not.
They're singing the Temptations cover.
So it is, yeah. And this is what was weird because they got the rights to the song, but
I didn't know you had to buy
the performance.
Rights. Yeah, I didn't know you had to buy rights to a cover or someone's performance of the cover.
Well, they had a particular arrangement that would have been like, "Hey, man, you're doing our song."
Yeah. I guess you buy the
even including the "Hey, Rudolph" that part and everything.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's all
that's
Temptations.
Gotcha.
So they wanted. I guess they were like, "What's a Motown Christmas song?" And so they're like, "Here's one," and for kids, seemed like a good choice, I guess.
Yeah. And it's just it's funny because so they auditioned a couple of groups. They ended up going with the the street singer. I forgot what they're called.
The street
singers, something like that. And they had a girl in the group, so of course the girl's taking the falsetto part. And I remember as a kid, I couldn't tell the difference. And of course now it's it's obviously different. It's.
I still didn't know until I read it, and then now it's obvious, but it's fine.
Yeah. So it's one of those where he wanted them to do it exactly, and they kind of struggled with it because as a musician, it's hard to copy exactly someone's style sometimes,
especially the Temptation. Somebody who's very specific.
It's very very niche and all that. So
they did fine, but man, Motown's got such a great sound that recreating that on these 80s with his 80s,
keyboard you bought at Service Merchandise.
right. It just didn't translate. The singers are fine, the arrangement's awesome, but it doesn't translate. It's Kmart, man.
I remember getting quite a few toys from Service Merchandise.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Robotech and Voltron and G.I. Joe, but
hey, are the raisins? Are they raisin size or are they people size raisins?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I know there was
a whole world.
Well, in the commercials,
there were game of them.
In the commercials, they were raisin size because they would creep around the box when they were doing the.
So then they're raisin size.
Yeah. So then did they make
this is like a tiny raisin world.
So the dinosaurs are raisin size.
They turned the dumpster.
They turned a dumpster into the sleigh. Yeah, they grab all the trash and everything and create their own sleigh.
I think they could have built a sleigh out of
fly away themselves, I guess. They all ate the magic feed corn from Rankin Bass.
Right. The magic feed corn and you can fly.
I listen to this show called the Purple Stuff Podcast. It's really great. Jerry, have you heard it? You'd love it.
I have not, no.
A lot of 80s stuff. And so they do every year they do what's it called? It's called Awesome Christmas Songs, right? Cool. And so last year they were on part 5, and they each picked 5 as 2 guys. So there's 10 songs a year. So they're on songs 41 through 50 for 2 guys who are not obsessed with Christmas like we are, right?
Right.
Your 41st through 50th best Christmas songs. So one of the ones they picked this year was Rudolph by the Raisins, but it was a Rudolph rap. from
yeah,
from a
I've heard
Raisin
that.
Christmas album.
They have on their album. It's different, and it's
totally different. It's weird because it's
it
the
is
Raisins,
weird, yeah.
but it's not this Rudolph that's on here. It's a rap. It's a Rudolph. Yeah.
I remember when I was looking because I wanted this version. This was a few years ago, and I was looking everywhere I could find it, and then I saw it, and I thought, "Oh, cool! They have it. It's not on the album, but they have it."
Right.
And then I downloaded it, and it is not. It is not that. Yeah.
And I'll add that the guy from Purple Stuff podcast called it. He probably just joking. He called it the best version of Rudolph by any artist ever. We got some problems with that, but
it's probably a joke.
Yeah,
we all know that the best version was by Jewel and her mother.
Rudolph.
There's a version of course, everybody knows Bing Crosby, but there's one where he does with Judy Garland. It was like from a USO kind of tour.
Oh wow, yeah.
And they add like their own verses, and they of course kind of riff for a bit. I mean, it's different.
There's the one he does
cool,
with Sinatra. The one with Sinatra where he's like, "Hey, Rudolph, flying through the sky," or something. Yeah, they're like just riffing on it. Yeah, like in Jazz Cats or whatever. So,
like faux scatting.
Right. That red-beaked reindeer.
Red-beaked, yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
here's a piece of trivia about this whole raisins thing you might not know. Because I know you guys have been giving me all kinds of good trivia, but I've got like some really good trivia for you. Because this won
some knowledge on us.
This won the Primetime Emmy, right?
It did, yes.
Did you know that after they found out that Raisins didn't actually sing this, that they took the Emmy away? It's good for Milli Vanilli. So
wow,
like, Raisins.
No, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Same thing happened to the Archies too around this time. Like, this is not really actually cartoons. Sorry, guys. So
I still think Raisins sung it. I don't believe it. I think Raisins sung it.
You don't believe the rumors. You don't buy the rumors. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And or if they didn't, I'm sure they could have just as well as anyone else. So, yeah.
There you go.
So,
Yep.
The Raisins have vocal cords.
And finally, we go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just going to rate it, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it. Yeah.
So I have this. I'm at a 3 out of 10 on this one too. Sorry. So
I think for me, just because it's the Raisins, I'm going to add like 4 points.
I think I'm going to give it because of the Raisins.
I'm going to give it 8.
8?
I'm going to go. I'll go 7.
Wow.
Fine. I mean, it's the Raisins. We find, it feels like. I do want to know what you rate. What we haven't rated yet is the overall dinosaur part.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet, but we haven't brought it to a close yet either.
Okay.
So finally, the elves or almost leprechaun-looking sounding guys, right? They sound Irish, right?
Yeah.
And, so they come in on their wagon or sleigh bells or whatever it is, and so they actually explain what wassail means, and of course Herb, the Santa one, the doof. There we go. Right. Yeah. So he's like, I told you there was a song about snacks, and he's all excited because he found out wassail means going around the neighborhood singing songs and drinking, getting treats and drinking and whatever. And so they end up actually finding out what wassail means, and they call it a day. And when Rex is looking for Herb, he finds him, and he's like gorged himself on all the waffles and treats and everything. So he's just busting out of his costume as big as can be. And
that's what Christmas is all about.
Herb, he is a snack.
Right. That's why you wear your buffet pants to dinner.
Your eating pants.
Yeah, it's got to be stretchy, man.
I brought my eating pants.
There you go. So let's rate the dinosaur one.
The wraparound, like a 5? I don't know. Like I
2.
Take it or leave it. 2?
Yeah. Give it a 2. Because I would probably like the special if it weren't for them.
Without them,
yeah.
I don't know. I watch a lot of anthologies, so I'm used to wraparounds, so they're just there to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, I don't know. I liked their Odd Couple thing, but it did get a little old. Like it, I think it went like a couple too long. So I'm gonna go with like a 5.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So I think if you average all my scores, I'm somewhere near like a 5, under a 5.5, probably like a 5.3 or something. So
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track. So
feels about right.
Yeah, sure. So I think overall I'd give it like a 7.
Oh, really?
You mean for the whole special?
Just for and I think a lot of that is just because of nostalgia.
Right. What about you, Rusty?
5.
Yeah, 5 feels
because a lot of it I really don't like, especially dinosaurs, but some of it I do. So it's right in the middle.
Right on.
He likes counting blue cars. He just doesn't like Charlie Brown's parents. So it's like, you take the good dishwallow with the bad dishwallow. I am sorry to Jerry's listeners who do not know anything about 90s alt rock. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry to any who do.
And if we want to talk about Gym Blossoms, that's a whole nother show.
We're not making fun of Gym Blossoms.
I love the Gym Blossoms.
Yeah,
we used to cover them in a band I did for a long time. But so okay, I have to ask, and I know it's going to be difficult because it wasn't really part of your history. But if you had to pick a particular moment or memory, what would you say is the happiest memory or moment of the special for you?
And you're talking about like memories from childhood or whatever.
Yes.
My memory is the one I said earlier, where we just all decided that we don't. And also, I was young enough too that was maybe one of the first times that had happened, where it's like you don't have to watch something. And like, oh,
yeah,
because you think like, you have to.
You don't know that.
Yeah, TV's on. You have to, and there's a Christmas special. You have to look at it. So,
exactly.
Like no one's enjoying this. Let's do that.
And you're just stuck,
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that would happen today in my family. I feel like when I was younger, man, like, I don't know, like my mom and dad are really cool, but I also feel like if we committed to something, my mom probably like made us, no, we're watching this. No, you're watching this. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. I'll ask her what she would have done.
That's awesome.
So my it would be, I already said, so in college, we started quoting I lost mine, and I'm probably not even saying it right, but it's just, we just always just said it, and it could be, and we even, Adam, my brother-in-law, and I, we took some classes together, so we'd be in like math, college algebra class, and like just like look at you and be like, I lost mine. I don't know, it's so stupid. I don't know, but to this day, like I could call him right now. I can go, I lost mine, and he'd crack up, and I can hang up the phone, and that would be the whole conversation. So.
Right on. For me, I remember watching this right after Garfield when it aired.
Wow.
So that's probably, or no, you know what? Scratch that. I think my happiest memory would be when I showed it to my kids because they enjoyed it. So yeah, a little bit later from their childhood, but oh well.
I feel like I need to throw in the comparison that Garfield, although we did not cover it last year because we have some friends who are not the smartest and they didn't vote for it, but it's my number 4 movie. And so Garfield's like a 10 out of 10 to me. So
I think the Tis the Podcast folks ranked it really high too.
Good. Well, they should have. I haven't heard that. I need to go listen.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good episode.
No, I know one of those guys.
Other episodes on this. No,
one of those guys is kind of like a grouch, right? Like a Grinch. Is it Anthony? Wait, which one?
It kind of depends.
Really?
On what they're covering.
I feel like it's always this.
The running gag was that Tom was the worst.
Okay,
but Anthony is angry Anthony. So
then maybe it's him. I don't know. So
it just depends on what they're covering. Yeah.
Yeah. So did he like it, or was he?
Yeah, they all liked it. They all really enjoyed it because it's good. It is a good one. Yeah. So now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is what I like to call "Gag Me with the Spoon." So this is where we do our best impressions of our least favorite part of the special, as good as we can, since this is mostly music. But as the guests, I'll let you guys go first. Whichever one of you wants to go first, I'm fine with. Just kind of set up the scene for us, and we'll go from there. And we'll let the listeners vote, and the winner will get a Totally Rad Christmas sticker, unless I win, in which case I get nothing. So far, I am 0 for like 20. So.
All right, wait. I guess I didn't vote, but on the last Christmas, I think you were the winner, huh? You didn't win that one?
I have not. I'm not winning currently. No, that one ends.
This is like when I had to.
Nothing.
I did not win it. Yeah, I lost.
Oh,
So.
this is like when I had to break to Rusty. I lost that rap battle. Because I'm going to go first because Rusty's going to be much better than me at this, and so I'm
okay.
mine out of the way. All right, so it's the part at the very beginning, and where he's talking about all the different songs, and he says there's a song about snacks, right? And the other guy, it's probably the same. Did you all pick the same line?
That's the one I picked. Well, that's okay. I got.
That's why I went first. Now you got to pick something else.
Okay, go for it.
Wait, there was the other episode. Oh, I think A Christmas Story where you had the guest on. She was like, "You can see me. I'm turning around or something."
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joey? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I got you.
I need it.
You're gonna do the same thing. Oh, you disappeared.
No, I'm just checking. All right. There's not a carol about snacks. There we go. That's what the guy says. So the problem with that line is there's a million carols about snacks.
Yeah,
like
true.
We're always singing about snacks because we're singing about candy cane and chestnuts. There's going to be a song called Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire.
Yep.
There's more carols about snacks than there are songs about rainbows and what's on the other side.
That's very true.
That is true.
That's proven. That's a fact.
Yep.
That's
all right, Rusty.
Okay. Mine's more of kind of a Dana Carvey style impression where the essence of the thing without being too literal. So it's just like the banter between the two, especially when they pitch to a song. And you just, the moment he says the song is when you realize you don't need them. And so it just sounds like, the talk about snacks, but no, we don't need that for further. The snackins, but good snacks. Okay. Well, anyway, joy to the world.
I think he wins. I think I need to not even do mine now. But
I told you that's why I wanted to go first.
Oh man. Okay, so. Well, I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I'll try it.
And I took your line.
So okay, all right. I got one. So this will be it's very similar, and it's right after Herb is saying about the waffles. The waffles just showed up, and Rex. Let's see. I got to get into character here. Rex says, "As usual, Herb, there you go, letting history take a back seat to your stomach."
That's it. That's good. See, you guys are good.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh man. So I'll leave it up to you, listeners, to decide who's gonna win and who's getting nothing. But either way, it's fun.
Either way, we're all lost.
Either way, yeah. Mike and I are getting nothing. So
I'm glad we all picked the same, hatred essentially.
Right.
It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, I have to ask. G.I. Joe, they taught us, that knowing is half the battle. What do you think is the other half?
Bombs. Violence.
Are you wishing violence on Herb and Rex? Is that what you do?
Well, I meant on G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay.
That was the other half. But on Herb and Rex, I have a different answer, I suppose. Which is, I think the lesson we learn from this special is that you can be sacred and sincere, but also silly at the same time.
Oh.
And that's the knowing. The other half of that battle, however, is figuring out a better way to express that sentiment than this special.
Yeah, mine's similar. Mine would be the other half of the battle is accepting quality over quantity.
There you go.
I think you take the best 3 or 4. I understand you had to have the raisins. I get that, in the context of the time. It probably doesn't translate today as well. But I still think you could have cut 2. Yeah, I think you could have cut 2 of them at least. So.
Yeah,
should have been the hosts.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. So this is our new segment, how to improve a bad special. No,
That's what I'm all about.
so for me, if knowing is half the battle, I think the other half is that in order for your Christmas special to be complete, you need to have ice dancing walruses. All right, Mike, Rusty, it's been fun talking with y'all. What do y'all want to plug?
We just did a Leon Day special, and so we're just doing some stuff on the blog. Talked about a Full House episode and a Leave It to Beaver episode. But we're just gearing up for season 2, which we're going to start probably like November 1st-ish. I guess Halloween's on a Saturday night, so something like November 1st or 2nd we'll launch season 2. So. And last year, like we said, we did the top 10 movies and songs as picked by our friends. And so this year, we're just going to pick random things. And so I might make Rusty watch Christmas with the Cranks. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Probably definitely do Garfield, probably some Mickey's Christmas Carol. I definitely have a couple favorites that we didn't get to talk about.
Kind of like things we wish people would have picked.
We wish our friends were smarter.
Yeah, if we had smarter friends, this is what
we had better friends, smarter friends.
Yeah, we need better friends.
So if they want to find Snow in Southtown, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so the podcast is everywhere: Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all that. But we're also at snowinSouthtown.wordpress.com, and that's the blog. You can find all of the podcast episodes there and the blog post as well. And yeah, we're active on Twitter and Facebook. So just look for Snow in Southtown, and it's there. I guess real quick, I'll say, I play music. We both play music, but I also have a band that we just started this year that's dedicated to all songs about a Christmas story. It's called Ralphie's Red Riders, and we
awesome.
worked all of June on the album, and it's coming out on Black Friday, and we're really excited about it. It's mostly kind of punk, and so if you're into like pop punk, like 90s pop punk, not whatever today is, Newfound Glory or whatever. But yeah, look out, like Green Day, old Green Day. Yeah. And so it's coming out on Black Friday on CD on Out Loud Records, and we're really excited about it. So it's going to be pretty fun.
Right on. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to pick that up. Definitely check out Snow in Southtown. It's funny, as you can tell just from this episode. These guys are great. And they talk about their top 10 movies, top 10 songs, and a few other things in between here and there. So
keep those bells jingling.
Yes. Although I think your daughter misquoted you, didn't you? Or she gave 2 quotes, didn't she? Something like that.
I think I kept messing it up, right?
When I was like,
you did. You always say, keep jingling those bells.
Keep jingling those bells.
Like, are you trying to punk me? You don't know our own slogan?
I can keep up. I'm slow sometimes.
That's all right.
We all have those days. But on that note, again, guys, thanks for coming on. And I'm going to end it by saying, Herb, haven't you had enough Christmas goodies? I told you there was a song about snacks. Say goodnight, Herb. Good night, Herb. And find us as always on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like celebrating songs about Christmas trees and stacks of gifts, reindeer and jingling bells, holiday ballet, Santa Claus, universal joy, and Christmas snacks, then please go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Don't forget to vote. Later, dudes.